Welcome to another episode of the Financial Flourish podcast. I'm your host, Michele, and I'm so happy that you've decided to join us today. Over the last few episodes, we've been building something intentionally. In episode 30, we talked about the cost of being the responsible one, the weight, the pressure, the reality of carrying more than you realize. In episode 31, we didn't start over. We talked about how to move forward differently, what to keep, what to change, what to release. And if you actually took that seriously, if you slow down, if you stop trying to fix everything at once, you might be in a new place right now, a quieter place. But also a place where you're thinking, okay, so what do I actually focus on now? That's what today is. Today is about order. Because one of the biggest reasons money feels overwhelming is not lack of effort, but lack of sequence. Today, I'm going to look at 4 stages that you can incorporate in your life as you strive towards financial stability and financial freedom. Let's get right into it. Let's start with the part almost nobody wants to talk about. Before wealth building, before investing, before aggressive debt payoff, you have to make sure that your income is reliably supporting your life. And the emphasis is on reliably. Not in your best month, not in your bonus month, not in the month where everything goes perfectly, but in your normal month. This is where a lot of responsible women get stuck because they're technically paying their bills, but they're doing it with tension. Maybe you've had this experience. You look at your bank account the day before the paycheck and think, okay, I just need to get through one more day. Or your income fluctuates, so every month you have to recalculate. Or you feel relief every time money hits your account. That relief feeling, that's a signal. It's a signal that your cash flow is too tight. Financial stability begins when your income covers your core life expenses with breathing room, not just survival. So the real question for stage 1 is this: does my reliable income cover my essential life comfortably? What's your essential life? That includes your housing, utilities, insurance, transportation, groceries, etc. Not luxury spending, not travel, not lifestyle upgrades, just your core life infrastructure. Now, if the answer is no, then your financial focus right now is not investing, it's alignment. That means that you try to figure out how to lower your fixed expenses. Maybe you need to adjust your housing or reduce your lifestyle inflation, how to increase your stable income, or how to temporarily simplify life. And just for the record, there is no shame in stage 1 because stage 1 is where most stability work actually happens. Now, I'm aware that some of these things are not easy to do. It might be very challenging for some persons, and it does take some time to do them. It's not easy to adjust your housing because you actually might own a house, paying a mortgage, and it might not be as simple as let me adjust my housing, maybe sell the house, and then where am I going to live, especially in this economy? Or even lowering your fixed expenses because they're fixed expenses, so you might not be able to lower them. So, this is the stage where you have to get real and see exactly what you can do and how you're going to go about getting these things done. So that's stage 1. And stage 1 involves building a stable cash flow. So that's cash flow stability. Now we go to stage 2. And stage 2 is about building a shock absorber. Now, once your income can support your life consistently, the next stage is something simple but powerful. You build what is called a shock absorber, or we say princess cushion, right? Because as I've said so many times, life happens all the time. Life is going to hit your finances, and this is not going to be an occasional thing, it's going to be a regular occurrence. You have car repairs, medical bills, travel for family, the school costs if you have children, home repairs because your home needs to be repaired all the time. Or you might have to replace your technology. Maybe your laptop broke or something, but things are always happening in your finances. These are not financial mistakes, these are just what happens in normal life. Now, the problem is that if you don't have a financial cushion, every time one of these life events happen to your finances, it sets you back. So instead of absorbing the impact, you bounce backwards. That is why the next milestone is not 6 months of savings. It's a much smaller number, and your first goal should be $1,000 to $2,000 in emergency savings, depending on your expenses. And this cushion will change how your nervous system experience money. You stop thinking, if something goes wrong, I'm in trouble. And you start to think, if something happens, I can handle it. And this shift reduces a lot of financial stress in your life. One of the big problems that happen is that a lot of women often skip this step because they feel guilty, saving while they have debt. Because, sometimes people say, no, you need to get rid of your debt, don't save. But if you don't have that cushion, if you don't have that shock absorber, then you're going to end up the same place where you were when life happens. And so, what this stage does is that it protects your progress. So, we have stage one, cash flow stability. And then we have stage two, building a shock absorber. So, now we go to stage three. And stage three is eliminating high interest debt. Now, we deal with debt that is actively working against us. It's not all debt, just the kind of debt that is financially destructive. And those include credit cards, personal loans, and frankly, any debt that has double digit interest rates. Because once the interest rate is that high, the debt grows very quickly. And sometimes you're not even realizing. Sometimes you're paying the minimum balance on your credit card, and somehow it doesn't seem like the balance is going down. And that's because most of what you're paying is interest. So once your income is stable and you have a shock absorber in place, then your focus shifts to paying down your debt. And you do that with intention, the high interest debt. Now, your debt payoff should feel focused but not punishing. And I spoke about this last time, not approaching your debt like it's a moral failure. So you're not going to eliminate it by taking extreme discipline. You're not going to say, oh, I'm not going to do any spending, no enjoyment, no margin. That might work for a short time, as I said last time, but eventually it's going to fail because once you start doing extremes, it's not so easy to sustain it because then you get so exhausted and then your plan just collapses. So, what happens sometimes instead of having a structured reduction plan, we have what looks like financial punishment when we're trying to pay down our debt, and that's where we get ourselves in trouble. So, what you're going to do in this stage is you're going to have a plan to pay down the high interest debt. You're going to be consistent and you're going to not try to prove something. So, you're just eliminating something, you're not proving anything to anyone, you're just eliminating your debt. And what you'll see happen is that as you start paying down the high interest debt, you'll see the debt goes down so much faster and you'll reduce your financial stress. Now, the fourth and final stage that I'm going to look at today is building real security. Now, once your high interest debt is under control, now you can start building something powerful. Real security. This is where you move from a small emergency cushion to a true emergency fund. And this means that you'll have 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. This is the stage where financial anxiety begins to change because when you look at your future, you're not thinking from fear, you're thinking from margin. If something happens, you have time to find another job, time to make decisions calmly, time to navigate life changes. That time is incredibly valuable. Many people underestimate how much peace this stage brings. And what happens a lot is that women skip this stage because they feel pressure to invest quickly. You know, real wealth grows better on stable ground. And I spoke to a woman this week. She lost her job a few weeks ago, and she told me she felt so peaceful. She didn't feel scared. She was not fearful. She had 4 months of expenses saved. And so she had the time to stop to evaluate her next move and put a plan in place. And this is what happens when you have that fully funded emergency fund, right? You're not making haste decisions if you lose your job or just grabbing the next job because you have that cushion. You have enough time to stop and evaluate what's going on in your life. So that's very important. And the final stage that I'm going to look at is wealth building. So now we reach the stage that most financial advice focuses on wealth building. Investing consistently, increasing retirement contributions, building assets, growing long term financial independence. This is exciting. This is an exciting stage to be in. But this stage only works if the earlier stages are complete. Because investing while your financial life is unstable creates anxiety. The market fluctuation and make you feel scared. You have unexpected expenses and it derails your progress because you did not build a proper foundation. You did not have that cash flow stability. You didn't pay down your high interest debt. You do not have that fully funded emergency fund. And so if you didn't do that and you reach to a place where you're investing, each time something happens, you're putting yourself backwards. As I said, you're bouncing backwards. Now, if you have a foundation that is strong, then investing is going to be something different. It's going to be steady. You can invest consistently. When the market is going crazy, you can stay calm and you can allow time to do its work. So you're not investing for short term gain, you're doing this as part of your long term plan. And this is where, compounding comes into play and your foundation that you built, now you're adding more things on it that is more secure. So let me ask you a question. Not where you want to be financially, not where you think you should be, but where are you actually? Which stage are you at? We have 5 stages. Stage one is cash flow stability. Stage two is shock absorber. Stage three is debt reduction. Stage four is security. And stage five is wealth building. Now, there's no shame in being in any stage, not stage one, not stage two. And sometimes you pretend that you're in stage five when your life is still operating in stage one. So, in order for your finances to be strong, you have to be honest. So, you can't pretend that you're in one stage and trying to live in another because eventually it's going to come to the light. So, given that information, one thing I'll say to you is that you should not skip any stage. And sometimes it's easy to skip because of pressure or because you want to catch up. Your friends are talking about investing and you think that you should also be investing. But if you have high interest debt or you have no cash stability, then that's not the time to invest. Now, financial advice is written for people who are already stable. So when you go to a financial advisor and they start talking about investing, you may not be there. So if you try to apply the advanced strategies before your foundation is ready, it's only going to create a mess. You're going to be stressed out. You're not going to make any progress. So you first have to make sure that you have stability and then growth. So it's very important to do that. Now, if your finances feel overwhelming right now, I want you to remember that you don't have to fix everything. You just need to focus on the next stage. So look and see where you are and focus on the next stage. Not all 5 stages at once, just one at a time. So first, you stabilize your cash flow, you build a shock absorber, you eliminate high interest debt, you build a real security, and then you grow wealth. And you do this one stage at a time. Because financial stability is not built through urgency, it's built through order, and order creates peace. So let me leave you with this. If your finances have felt overwhelming, it's probably not because you're incapable. It's because you've been trying to build everything at the same time, and that creates pressure, not progress. Remember the order, as I said, do not do all at one time, do them in order. Now, for this week, this is what I want you to do. Don't fix everything, just identify your stage. Be honest with yourself about where you are. Because when you know which stage you're in, then you know what you should focus on. And when your focus is clear, then your finances become calm. They're not perfect, but they're much quieter. And that's where stability begins. So, ladies, I hope that this information can help you to figure out which stage you're in and what you need to do next. I thank you so much for listening to our episode today. Remember that you can connect with us on Spotify, on Instagram, on YouTube, and also Apple Podcast. I look forward to hearing from you. And remember, as you take one more step toward your financial goal, don't forget to flourish.